Wow, what a long, tough, egregious day. Egregious? I don't think that's the right word. Anyway, now that that's over with, time to sit back, relax, and you know what? Let's start a new show today. Yeah, it's a video essay about openings. Okay, come on, here we go. Well, if you're the Television Academy, the people who bring you the Emmys. Yeah, that's a quote right from their website. Deeply serious people here. One of the many prestigious awards that they hand out once a year goes to Outstanding Main Title Design. Huh. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that's too wordy, so we're going to call them openings. The currently pretty terrible AI overview feature on Google describes openings as the following. The opening of a show is called the title sequence, opening sequence, or intro. It's a combination of visuals and sound that introduces the show's title, cast, and production crew. Okay, AI overview, that's mostly true. However, what little evil lying AI over here fails to mention is that they usually include a theme song and are almost all animated. In all seriousness, I challenge you, the viewer, to name a show in the next 10 seconds that has an opening that is not animated. Are you ready? 10, 9, 8. Alright, okay. That may have been a bit of a silly thing to say. Obviously, a lot of shows still have live action openings. However, at least the group of shows I did show you, that you just showed me, a good chunk of them use animation in their openings to add some visual interest. And before you get the wrong idea, I don't think live action openings are bad or even inherently worse than animated ones. Of course not, that would be a ridiculous thing to think. And come on, the Friends opening is an undeniable classic that does great work for the show itself in the way it... In the case of Friends, the OP follows the main cast all dancing together in a fountain.
La 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 la, ha ha ha, yeah, this is fun. Yippee!
Very fun stuff. This does great work for the story of the show, as this is a very character relationships focused story where most of the screen time is spent. Wait a minute. I might believe that this is diegetic sound that the characters all hear. Because they're singing the damn song, don't think I don't see you, Rachel. Also, is this canon? Did this happen in the story? Did they all get together and dance outside in a fountain? Also, who brought the couch? Wait, who brought the light? Where's it plugged in? Game of Thrones was a massive show in more ways than one. If you've had anything resembling consciousness since 2011, chances are you've heard of it. But the world that this show contained was truly expansive. Look, a lot of shows take place in a pretty condensed setting. One town as a setting for the whole story to take place in is rather standard. But Game of Thrones, however, takes place in this. Now, according to George here, the distance from point A to point B is around 3,000 miles. To put that into perspective for you, the UK from Dunnet Head in Scotland to Lizard Point in England is approximately 600 miles. And we meet and follow characters in the show from all over Westeros. As you can imagine, this can become pretty hard to follow and remember all of the locations on top of that. This is where the show's opening comes in. We're met with a brilliantly animated, stylized version of the show's world, topped off with iconic landmarks and location titles to help the viewer build an association. It is also set to what is pretty inarguably the most iconic piece of music to ever come from this series. Ramin Djawadi is a legend of the game, and don't you forget it. But what really sends this opening over the line for me and to GOAT status is that the locations displayed in the openings of each episode changes depending on what locations you see in that episode. Look, my parents were pretty big godheads back in the day, and in most of the shows they're clicking that skip intro button that you see on Netflix like they're trying to see their name on the front page of speedrun.com. But for Game of Thrones, no sirree, they are watching the full thing every time because they want to see where they're headed this episode. Maybe it's been a while since they last watched and need a refresher before we dive in. And again, it's also set to this. I mean, come on! When making this video, I really didn't expect to be using Apple TV exclusive The Morning Show's opening as a titular example. You probably haven't even heard of the show, as it's, as I said, an Apple TV exclusive, and normal people don't watch Apple TV. But hey, I think this one is pretty cool. Now, this is only my experience with watching it, and what is art if not subjective, but I don't feel that this opening has a lot to do with what's going on in the show itself. I mean, it doesn't really teach you much about any specific characters, it vaguely hints at some of the themes and plot lines of the show, and aside from some metaphorical ideas that you can grasp, there's nothing tangible here that connects to the show it's trying to serve. To quote an article I read on the opening by Tim Nutt, designed by creative directors Angus Wall and Hazel Baird, the sequence features colourful dots bouncing, swerving and jostling their way through different scenes, a fun and flexible visual abstraction of the office politics permeating the Apple TV show. I mean, yeah, if I stop and really think about it, I can see what they're saying, but I would wager that a solid 75% of the viewer base just thought that the colourful dots looked cool and this song sounded great. Both statements I agree with. But does that mean that this opening is bad because it fails to easily communicate directly to the viewer information about the show? No, of course not. Openings can have their own merits separate from the show they're attached to. I haven't even seen all of the morning show, but when thinking of openings for this video, it came to me pretty early. And that seems like an incredible achievement of the creative team behind it, that they were able to produce something that holds a stronger place in my mind palace than the show it's attached to does. And this won't be the last one of those.
How the hell do you make a video about openings and not talk about anime?
No, man,
you
that's
daft
uncool.
prick!
That's stupid, dude. Like, come on.
Okay, shut up! I hear you! Message received, loud and clear.
Worry not, my weeb compatriots, for the time has finally come. To all normal people, the door is down the hall to the left, can't miss it. Thank you for joining me up until this point. You are free to return to the outdoors and do whatever it is you cool folks get up to. Anyway, the rest of us, well, we got some Japanese cartoons to talk about. Alright, for my other examples, I focused on specific openings to assist my explanation on how different openings can serve different purposes, blah blah blah. But, for this final section, we need to talk about only one man. My goat. Tetsuro Araki. Now, for the uninitiated, who might be thinking, I don't know who that guy is, why should I care? Shut up! Oh, you know, he's only the brilliant director behind all of this. Yeah, so maybe we're gonna put some respect on his name next time. But to close out this video, I want to take a look at two of his recent openings. Two of them that have left a real impact on me and, quite frankly, inspired me to even make this video in the first place. This is the Dangers in My Heart Season 2 opening, while it's Blue Box's first. While I was making this video, a friend said to me that they find the quality of a first season's opening to have a pretty large effect on their will to want to keep watching a show. And yeah, you could argue, if you don't like it, just skip it. But what that line of thinking fails to consider is that sometimes I will let the next episode play partially because I want to see the opening again. Which, funnily enough, was my experience while watching both of these shows. I would get to the end of an episode and think, "Aw, nice! I get to watch that beautiful OP again!" So what makes these openings make me feel like that about them? Well, on first glance, the obvious appeal to these openings is the downright glorious animation. But I think what elevates them is Araki's direction that manages to tell a certainly summarized, but nonetheless captivating summary of the show's main plots. We get to be behind Kyotaro and Taiki's longing stares and see the way they see Yamada and Chinatsu. We see the beautiful cityscapes and the quiet gym in the morning. We see the bike ride at sunset and the trek home after practice. We see the triumphant moment of victory and this awesome dance number. Okay, well, this isn't really relevant to the plot or story in a big way, but hey, it looks amazing, A1 stuff. If you couldn't tell already, of the two, I am more taken by Blue Box's opening, for reasons I'll dive into in a moment. I think an extension of my friend's sentiment from earlier about the importance of a first season's opening affecting their will to watch a show is that a season 1 opening has a harder job than a later season's. For obvious reasons, right? If you're going into further seasons of a show, you've already assigned a certain level of your own time and commitment into it, so those later openings don't have as much to prove to you. A season 1 opening, on the other hand, wow. They gotta sell you on the whole damn show, so let me tell you, when I sat down to watch episode 1 of Blue Box after seeing Netflix showed it to me and said, "Hey, you might like this," did this opening sell me on the show? This may just be the most beautiful and most dynamic use of lighting in an animated series that I can recall. Now, does that make me narrow-minded and stupid? Maybe, but it does make this gorgeous. The way Araki intercuts the leads of the show practicing for the sports they're passionate about, while intercutting beautiful and adorable moments of their relationships with each other and others in their life, just makes for such a compelling hook for the show. I don't know what this crack that Araki puts in the moments in both of these openings when the music reaches its climax and someone starts running. I also particularly adore how the slice of life moments in this opening seem to be candid photographs and videos, which makes these moments feel all the more genuine to me and makes me want to watch the show to see more of them. It's just so good, man. I don't know what else to tell you. If you were at all open to the idea, both of these shows are currently on Netflix, and I would highly recommend checking them out if you enjoy romance stories at all. If you can only watch one though, well, I think you know which one I'm picking. Well, thank you for actually watching this far in my first video ever. This is sort of my first time editing or anything like that, and I had a lot of fun doing it, so this is probably not going to be a first and last situation. So drop a sub if you want to see more, fuck generative AI, and support artists. Have a good one.